So in this video I want to talk about area, and I'm going to focus on using metric measurements, so primarily just centimetres and metres. I could go into kilometres, but I won't bother. I'll just focus on centimetres and metres, because that's probably the most likely lengths that you would be dealing with to form an area. You can, of course, have areas in imperial units as well, so square inches or square miles, but you'll probably see less of that in a GCSE maths paper. So, first of all, I'm going to deal with a little bit of notation and a little bit of the English language. So when I write, let's say 8m with a squared symbol, okay, the way that we say that is 8 square meters. So this is 8 square meters. Now, you'll likely be inclined, and I will probably say this all the time as well, and you will probably have heard it, reading it as it stands, 8 meters squared. Okay, seems perfectly reasonable to say it that way round. Unfortunately, 8 square meters and 8 meters squared have two subtle meanings, and they are different. So what we're saying here is we have an area of 8 square meters. So if you had 8 1 meter by 1 meter squares, that is the area that you are considering, right? And you could space that out into whatever way you wanted. So let's say I had something like this. I imagine that each of those was a square. This, if that's 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, okay? This is 8 square meters, as you might expect it to be, if they're laid out like that. So if you had like tiles, for example, you would know how many tiles you would need. But if you're looking at 8 meters squared, squared, what we mean by that is actually this. It's actually saying it as 8 meters squared, right? So it's like 8 meters in a bracket and you're squaring it. And so actually that is 64 square meters, which is obviously a lot larger. So there is probably a little bit of being a pedant here, being pedantic, but this is something that you run into, okay? So be aware that although when you read this, you'll probably still be saying 8 meters squared, what you mean is 8 square meters, okay? Thinking of it as this area, rather than squaring 8 meters, and this would be a square that's 8 meters by 8 meters, okay, and be a much larger area. So that's really the first thing here. Now, let's move into the actual kind of units that we work with. So let's say we want to work out the area of a rectangle. And here is my rectangle. And the lengths of the sides, let's say that this length is, let's go with 60 centimetres. And this length is 1.4 metres. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to compare what the calculation would look like if we kept in square centimetres and what the calculation would be like if we kept with square metres. So if we were looking at square centimetres first, we would be multiplying 60 by 1.4 metres in centimetres, which is 140. Okay, so if we do 60 times by 140, we get 8,400, and that would be square centimetres, and that would be the area of our rectangle. If we did it in metres, then 60 centimetres is 0.6 metres, and we've got 1.4 metres. So 0.6 times 1.4 is 0.84 square metres. So you can see these two things look quite different. And you might have originally thought, well, how do I convert from centimetres to metres? I multiply it by 100. But when we're talking about areas, you're multiplying by 100 in both directions. Okay? And so what you've actually got here isn't 0.84 times 100. You've actually got 0.84 times by not 100 but 10,000, 100 squared. Okay, that is what's being used to convert from metres squared, or sorry, there I go again, there I go, square metres into square centimetres. So if you want to convert from square metres into square centimetres, you've got to multiply by 100 squared. And if you want to convert from square centimetres to square metres, you've got to divide by 100 squared. Okay, so let's say, for example, that I had an area of let's say 95,200 square centimetres. What is that in square metres? Okay, let's put the question mark here. Well, what I need to do to convert from square centimetres to square metres is to divide by 100 squared. So 95200 divided by 100 squared, and I get 9.52 square metres. And so that's how we can convert from square centimetres to square metres. So it's not going, well, I've got it in centimetres and I need to go to metres, so I just divide by 100. Because you've got two dimensions here, you need to divide by 100 squared.